I didn't flinch when they high-fived each other. It was so perfectly choreographed, like a scene they practiced over and over. Same smug smirk, same flick of the wrist, same cold amusement in their eyes. Sorry, man. Vanessa said, cocky as ever, but this state is ours now. Her sister Dana let out a sharp, triumphant laugh. Guess you should have read the fine print. I watched them, not as they saw themselves confident, victorious, but for what they truly were, temporary. I set the leather folder down on the table. Quietly, deliberately. Vanessa barely glanced at it. She should have. There was a time I believed I'd found peace. A wife, a home, a future that didn't involve sleepless nights or endless second-guessing. Vanessa and I had met in the hospital lobby. Her father had just suffered a stroke, and I was there visiting an old mentor. She was composed, graceful, strong, or so I thought. We married a year later. Her father liked me, trusted me. I treated him with respect, even as his mind slowly began to fade. Over time, I took on more of his affairs, legal paperwork, estate planning. He asked me to help keep things in order for when the time came. I did more than that. I protected him from vultures, only to marry one. The first crack appeared a year into the marriage. Vanessa stopped asking how my day went, stopped looking at me like I mattered. One night, I overheard her on the phone with Dana. He's useful, that's all. I remember standing in the hallway, listening. The words didn't sting, not like they should have. Instead, they confirmed what I'd felt but refused to face. She was playing a part, just like her sister, just like they had with their father, until he became more burden than blessing. They didn't see the man anymore. They saw only the money, the land, the legacy. When her father passed, the will was clear, but they didn't read it. They assumed. I let them talk about renovations, inheritance, selling off parts of the estate for modern developments. Let them show their teeth behind those sweet, false smiles. Vanessa started locking her phone. Dana started showing up too often. They'd laugh when I entered the room and stop when I got too close. So I stopped getting close. I stopped speaking. I started watching. They thought I was fading. But what I was doing was finalizing. 3 years ago, while the old man still had clarity, he sold everything to me. Quietly, legally, every acre, every property, every asset tied to the estate. The paperwork was airtight, witnessed, recorded, notarized, because he knew. He'd seen the way Vanessa looked at him like a balance sheet. Heard Dana joke about early inheritance. He called me his son. So I protected his legacy like it was my own, because now today was supposed to be their triumph. They'd stage it perfectly. Even filmed themselves walking to the vineyard, talking about finally taking over. Said they'd found a buyer. Even had contracts drafted. I let them, because nothing teaches better than silence before the fall. When I placed the folder on the table, I already knew what was inside. Title deeds, sale contracts, transfer of ownership. All signed years ago. All filed. All final. Vanessa opened it. At first, just a flicker of confusion, then dread. Dana leaned in, voice trembling. What is this? I didn't speak. Instead, I turned my phone toward the security camera feed, a live shot of this very room, their faces frozen mid-smirk, audio included. On another tab was a timestamp video from 2 hours ago, the one where they laughed about pushing me out, mocked their father's memory, toasted to their new empire. I uploaded it to the shared estate folder, synced to every board member, every family trustee. They weren't just out, they were exposed. Dana stormed out first, calling me a snake. Vanessa stayed. Her hands trembled. You tricked us. I met her eyes. No, I just listened while you lied. She stepped forward, like she had some leverage, some desperate plea. But there was nothing left. Not when the ink was dry. Not when every document bore her father's signature, and her own disinterest was clear. She looked at the state brochure she'd printed, their names scrawled boldly across the top. I picked it up, tossed it into the trash, and walked out. The state is quiet now. The vineyards are blooming, clean, untouched. I hired a new caretaker, a local man who knows the land and respects it. Sometimes, I sit on the porch where her father used to rest in the evenings. He once told me, money's loud, legacy is quiet. Make sure you know the difference. I do now. I don't need revenge headlines or police reports. I just needed them to know they lost everything they schemed for years ago, handed over by the very man they dismissed. The moment they thought they'd won, that was the moment I've been waiting for. Because the best kind of revenge is watching them realize they never stood a chance.